Hey YouTube, what is happening, guys? Rules for Rebels here, and today we're going to be answering a viewer question regarding Amazon FBA. So this is probably something a lot of you guys have either run into in the past, are currently running into, or may run into in the future. You're looking to get into Amazon FBA, you have a handful of product ideas, but you're having a hard time narrowing it down to which one to choose. And that's exactly the problem that Hexes44 was facing. Hexes asked, I live in the UK and want to start an Amazon FBA business. I've done some research in a web app and found 10 products I think are really good, but I don't know which one to pick. So it's a problem that I've run into myself, and here's kind of my advice for that. So if you're trying to narrow down a product list, I would kind of go in order of importance with these things. So number one, narrow it down or pick a couple of the products that are small, lightweight, and have a simple design. So if one of these products weighs over 2 pounds, cross it off your list right away, especially with Amazon FBA, because once a product goes over 2 pounds or is extremely bulky, your FBA fees are going to go through the roof. I had one product that was actually very small. It probably came in a, I don't know, 4-inch by 6-inch box, but it weighed a couple pounds, and my FBA fee on that was $33. Now, part of that is because it was a battery hazardous materials, but nonetheless, if your product is over 10 pounds, FBA fees are really going to cut into your profits. And in this instance, we're talking specifically about FBA. So we want it small, and we want it lightweight. The other thing is a simple design. I've sold some replacement parts to fix various types of electronics, and you're going to run into a lot of returns with something like that because A, customers maybe misdiagnose their problem and order the wrong part, and then they want to return it to you. Some people don't know how to do the repair that they're trying to do, so when they fail at doing the repair, they're going to send it back to you. And not only is this a hassle, not only is it costly to you, but in 2 instances, I've actually had products pulled off of Amazon FBA for excessive returns, and it really had nothing to do with myself or my product. I mean, I suppose maybe I should have offered an instruction or something, but just the nature of parts, people don't know what they're doing. They're going to order the wrong thing, and they're going to want to return it and get their money back. So I would stick to simple things that don't require instructions that anybody can use, etc. So that's one of the first tests that I would use across some of these things off the list. Number two, margins. Which of these products are going to give you the best margins? Now, some product or one of these potential products, maybe you can buy for $5 and sell it for $50. Maybe it's some type of backpack cooler or something like that. That's a fantastic margins, and margins are going to save your butt because if you're not making sales, it's going to leave you some room to drop your price. If somebody's trying to undercut you on price, you have plenty of room to move down and match their price. And with great margins, you have to sell less products, but you can still make a lot of money. Now, let's say, so I just gave the example, you have one product that you can buy for $5 and sell for $50. There's another product that you can buy for $15 and sell for $20. Not nearly as good of margins as the first product. So find, maybe 3 to 5 of the products that have the best margins and cross everything else off your list. So that's number two. Number three is overall sales stats. Take into consideration in the case of eBay, or overall sales stats, I should say, are important. If something sells 5,000 units a month, or if something sells, $150,000 worth of products per week or per month, try to focus on the items that have the highest sales stats. But I want you guys to keep two things in mind when you're doing this, because overall sales, well, it's important, it's not the most important thing. And what I mean by that, if you were to go on Terapeak and pull a report for phone cases, the sales of phone cases are going to be into the millions of dollars per week. So that may tell you, oh, this is a great product, I should get into it. However, the amount of established competition in terms of other sellers is going to be more than you can overcome. So in the case of eBay, if you're starting from scratch selling phone cases, and there's some guy who has 110,000 feedback selling phone cases, you're never going to be able to compete with him. You're never going to outrank him on eBay. In the case of Amazon with the reviews, I always tell you guys, try to pick a product that has ideally less than 50, preferably, at the very least less than 100. And I want you guys to find a product that on the first page of Amazon search has at least 3 products that are either less than 50 or less than 100 reviews. And again, that boils down to competition. With phone cases, sure, there may be a ton of sales, but if everybody on the first page has, 3,000 reviews, 5,000 reviews, you're never going to be able to catch them. So try to narrow it down based on not only the overall sales stats, but also take into consideration the competition out there. And if you're going to be selling on eBay, which I know this conversation is directed towards Amazon FBA, but if you're going to be selling on eBay, take into consideration the sell-through rate. I would gladly take a product that sells $10,000 a week and has a 92% sell-through rate over a product that has $1 million in sales per week and has a 23% sell-through rate. So that's number 3. Number 4, and I think this is important, and I think this is something not a lot of people consider. Which of these interest you? Now, I have this further down the list because what interests you isn't always going to make money, but I do think this is something to take into consideration. So which one of these products will be easier for you to market? And I'll give you guys an example. Let's say I'm into drones, and I have a decision to sell either drones or car radio volume knobs. I'm probably going to go with drones. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with selling, car radio volume knobs or guitar volume knobs. Those things actually sell really well. But I'm a big fan of content marketing and social media marketing. And when you're selling a product that's not really sexy, it's hard to, or fun, I guess would be a better word. It's going to be a lot harder to market the product. So if I'm selling drones, I can take all types of cool aerial photography videos, and all types of cool aerial photography pictures and put those on Instagram and put those on Pinterest and put those on YouTube. And I can do tutorials about how to fly your drone and tutorials about how to take good pictures with your drone. And I can link all these back to my site or back to my eBay or Amazon listing. And it's going to be very easy to market. Now with something like car radio knobs, if I post a picture of a volume knob for a 1999 Toyota Camry on Instagram, it's probably not going to get a lot of competition. So not only is it easier to market certain types of products, but the other thing is if I have an interest in drones, well, I already know about drones. I'm not going to have to do any research on the content I create. If I'm already playing with drones, I'm going to have plenty of footage and videos and things like that to market with. So overall, it's just going to be easier for me to market that type of product. So it's not one of the top things I would look into, but if you've narrowed it down to a couple products, I would probably go to the one that interests you or the one that you're more knowledgeable about. And then lastly, I would suggest trying to narrow this down to one product. But if you can't narrow it down to one product, I would narrow it down to 3 to 5 products. I would place a small inventory order for all of them. So, say I narrow it down to 4 products. Maybe depending on the price point, if it's feasible for you to do so, I would order 20 units of each of these 4 products. So 20, 40, 60, 80. So I order 80 pieces of inventory. I have 20 in each one. I list them all on eBay. I list them all on Amazon. And I just sit back and kind of see which ones sell better. 1 or 2 of them are probably going to be a flop. Maybe one of them's an all-star, maybe one sells a few units, but nothing crazy. And that's going to help you narrow it down to one product. Now, if you're trying to figure out where you can order only 20 units, if a lot of the sellers are wanting you to order 500 units or something like that, contact a couple Alibaba sellers, try to negotiate down the MOQ or the minimum order quantity to something reasonable. You may even want to tell them that this first order is just going to be a test order and that a bigger order is to come. Sometimes that works. If that doesn't work, most products on Alibaba you can find on either AliExpress or DHgate. If you have to, go over to that site. You may pay a couple bucks more, but the point here is we're trying to narrow down the number of products and pick the winner. So even if you have to pay a little bit more on AliExpress, keep in mind this is just a test order. We're testing the waters. We're seeing which one of these products sell best, because I would much rather see you throw a little bit of money down the drain on ordering 80 products and finding the winner, as opposed to dropping $3,000 or $5,000 or even $1,000 on one product off Alibaba just to find that there's no demand for it or you can't sell it. So for any of you guys looking to narrow down some potential FBA products you've created a list of, again, these are some of the things that I would suggest using to narrow it down. Number 1, small, lightweight, and simple design. Number 2, which ones have the best margins? Number 3, overall sales stats, well taking in consideration the competition and sell-through ratings in the case of eBay. Number 4, which one interests you or which one are you knowledgeable about? And number 5, if you can't narrow it down to one product, order a small amount of inventory of each of these products and see which one does best. So hopefully that helps you guys narrow down your list of potential FBA products you want to sell. If you guys have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section below. If you learned something from this video, if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, share it. And if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. So close to hitting that 50,000 subscribers. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you guys tomorrow for Side Hustle Thursdays.